tell us about 2020 then, Dom. How was it for Matsuura?
Challenging, I think, for all of us really, but 2020, considering obviously that we're in a pandemic and obviously it started in March, you know, the year was a challenge, but we managed to work all our way through it. We did sell machines all the way through the year, obviously at a slight percentage less than our normal yearly output, but overall the year was good. People that came to the showroom were very positive and have remained so. I mean, we ended up with a good end to last year. You know, we didn't have peaks and troughs. We sort of had a steady flow of orders right from the start of the pandemic, with obviously the medical side, and then that continued as people then wanted to diversify their business into automating their factories, so that they obviously were less reliant on personnel.
If there was any trends that emerged last year for you in manufacturing, what would they have been, do you think, that maybe changed?
I think people's attitude towards automation, people that hadn't considered automation before, definitely looked at it with bigger eyes. And obviously, I'm sure as many of our competitors have probably seen an increase, we saw a big uptake in new business to the likes of the H Plus behind me and the MAM 72.
Now, we're in the showroom here. This is where we start our tour today. When you bring a customer here, and you can do that still at the moment safely in the current circumstances, but outside of the pandemic, you take them on a tour, which I believe starts in this area. What's good about what you have here, Dom, in this showroom?
Well, the thing about the showroom is obviously it's a blank canvas, white floor, white background to show the machines off. We spend a lot of time going through the machines, its functionality, capability, the software that we offer that assists the unmanned running, and how we can train customers to get the machine making money as quickly as possible. So that's what we do in the showroom.
Do the machines often run demonstrations for people when they come here? Can you set them up to be cutting metal?
We generally don't do that in the showroom, but if we need to do a demonstration, we do that in our working area, which is behind the wall you're sitting, which is in our engineering bays of our business. And the reason is that we try to keep the showroom as a clinically clean environment to show the machines. If we then talk about the software and the capability of the machine, we can do that in here, but if we need to do cutting demonstrations or full turnkey, we've got plenty of space in the facility, and we'll be obviously walking around today and showing for the first time behind the scenes of our facility.
And I've got to say, Dom, I'm always really, really impressed when I come to Matsuura to look at what we're going to display on camera, the infrastructure that you have in place here. I mean, this is part of the heartbeat, what we're seeing here, isn't it, of what you do?
Absolutely. I mean, I think for those that have never been to Matsuura, you know, one thing that we do here is refurbish our spindle cartridges, not only for the UK market, but also for the whole of Europe. Now, this is something that we've been doing now in excess of 20 years.
So how many spindles would you be refurbishing here then, let's say in a week or a month?
So in a week, you know, we have 4 spindle engineers, and we're refurbishing 4 spindles per week, which is about 16 spindles per month, which actually caters for the requirement of the spindles that are utilised from our stocks, which we'll show you later, in the UK and the whole of Europe.
Now, what goes into the refurbishment of a spindle? I mean, what are the guys actually up to in here? What is the process?
So when a spindle returns from obviously the field, the spindle is completely dismantled, which is done in the dirty part of the spindle facility. So it's completely taken apart. We do a full report and analysis as to how and why that spindle failed, because obviously customers sometimes are claiming on insurance, or genuinely they just want to know what's gone wrong with it. So we do that throughout the process. Then the spindle components are then decided as to whether they can be refurbished, reused or replaced.
And how many of your, let's say, competition or other machine tool manufacturers or distributors would have something similar to this in place here? Not just in the UK, but around Europe, do you think?
To our knowledge, we're the only reseller in the UK, so not manufacturers. We don't manufacture here, we import machines and sell them. So as a reseller of machinery, I believe we're the only facility and business in the whole of Europe that has a spindle refurbishing facility within its business.
And I don't think I've ever seen so many spindles in stock. That's quite incredible, Dom, what you're holding here.
It is, and the reason we wanted to show you this today and to show all those customers that have never been to our facility here in Colville is that for over 20 years we have had these stock levels. So obviously we've gone through how we refurbish those spindles and that we're catering for the UK and the European market. We carry spindles on the shelf for machines that are beyond 20 years. In fact, that one spindle just behind you, on machines that we stopped manufacturing 25 years ago. So we keep them on the shelf for same day, next day delivery to a customer.
And we talk about the heartbeat of the business earlier. This really is the heartbeat of a machine, isn't it? It's so important to be able to service this area if something does go wrong.
Well, absolutely. If you buy a machine that's running 24 hours a day, you don't just lose that day, you lose the whole night as well. So our assurance to customers is that we control our own destiny by refurbishing the spindles here in the UK, and the majority of the spindles that we sell from the refurbishing side of the business are rebuilt here. There's only a small percentage come from Japan.
And is there any difference between purchasing a rebuilt spindle compared to a new one? And what are the differences and what are the advantages maybe to the refurbishment?
Well, it's a refurbed spindle that's rebuilt to the exact same specification of when that machine was built, or any iterations of design within that life of that spindle. So, for example, if a spindle came out that was 10 years old and it maybe went through one or two design modifications throughout that 10-year life, they get an up-to-date design on that spindle.
Now, we're all well aware, Dom, that spares goes beyond spindles, doesn't it? What are we seeing here?
Well, again, like we say, is that spare parts to keep machines running is paramount and key to anybody's business that buys a Matsuura. So here in Colville, we are the European stocking centre for Matsuura outside of Japan. So we're standing by this 10-metre high Olympic unit. In fact, we have 4 of them here in the facility, and anything that what we call a consumable spare part we stock here at Colville. So between these small cabinets that we've got here behind us and behind you where we'll walk through shortly, we carry between 18 and 20,000 different line items of spare parts.
And using systems like this means that spares are easily accessed, aren't they, which is critical to keeping machines functioning.
Absolutely, and again, this operation, like the spindle side of our business, has been running for, again, in excess of 20 years. So it's obviously on historical. We always say if you've got a spare part, you'll supply the spare part and sell it to the customer. But more importantly, the message we try to get over to our customers is that we are committed to having the spares on the shelf to give you, again, same day, next day availability of a spare component.
So I can see that you really do need to allocate a lot of time to a customer when they come here to show them all this. Dominic, again, more spares that are just, critical to servicing machine tools, aren't they?
Well, they are, and I think, we've just obviously shown you the small components that we stock, but we stock, key components, ball screws, linear guide rails, slideway covers, oil coolers, hydraulic tanks, air dryers, you name it, anything that could stop a machine tool from working, we stock. And obviously we can't fit these large components into the Olympics, so we stock them. And over the years, we've historically, data driven, we know what parts start to get used off more and more as our machines, like I said, they last 15, 20 years. As they start to consume components and units of air dryers or hydraulic tanks, we put more of those into stock, all from Japan. All these components are OEM original components on the machine tools.
And one thing we haven't touched on yet is the service, and of course this feeds straight into that, doesn't it? How does it work between the spares and the service department?
Well, that's the whole point. The key is that we like to try and visit once with our service engineers. So our help desk that obviously diagnoses or endeavours to diagnose the fault over the phone with the customers. We then dispatch spare parts to meet the service engineer so that we visit once.
And this is a big part of Matsuura's mantra, isn't it? We always hear from your customers how fantastic your support and service is. I suppose this is one of the reasons.
It is, and it's took 20 odd years to get to this point, and the thing is that service is paramount. Having the engineers available, but having the spare parts is more important, because if you haven't got the spare part, the engineer has to revisit after ordering that spare part, maybe sometimes from a European sister hub, which we don't do because we are the European hub.
And on that point, your geographics here, centrally located right near East Midlands Airport, moving parts around must be quite simple too.
It is, and that's obviously for our European agents and dealers. Obviously that's why we stock the parts here for them. They get shipped, and every day we got parts going out. So whether they're going out in the UK or into Europe, they're all dispatched from where we're standing now.
And then of course there is stock machines, and that's what we're seeing here.
Yeah, so again, as part of the facility tour when we bring people in, is that we show the working. So we stock between 20 and 30 machines at any one time and have that rolling stock as machines go out. So we bring the machines in as what we call naked, and that will be the spindle speed, the right number of tools and pallets. And then obviously, as we're now walking into this part of the engineering shop, is that when we sell a machine, bespokely to the customer specification, so what high pressure coolant they want, what swarf system exit they want, what mist extraction they want, what probing solutions they want. We then obviously pull the machine out, and we'll show you as we walk through. We put them in a working bay. The machines are then built to their specification, then obviously packed, put on a transporter, and then obviously we build that machine up at their facility, which then reduces the amount of time it takes the machine to be installed and in production.
And this is what we then see here. I mean, you've got H+ 300s, you've got Muratech machines, so you've got a real collective of different styles of machines, haven't you?
Yeah, in stock, like I said to you, we're not a volume seller, but we do sell 3 of those, 5 of those, 10 of those, so we always got that rolling stock. And being able to stock our own machines that's only for the UK market means that I would say 9 times out of 10 can sell a machine from stock on a very short lead time, and then put together with the swarf management and the probing and coolant solutions that the customer wants.
And that's what I was going to kind of conclude this on, really. A machine that we've just walked past can be brought into here and have these attachments fitted, and then be on the shop floor of one of your customers within a matter of days.
Weeks, really.
Weeks.
I mean, to be fair, obviously we need to get certain bits manufactured in the UK, some of the ancillary equipment, but we can talk anything between a 3 to 6 week period from order.
2021, Dom, we're going to finish this now. This year is going to be a good year for Matsuura. You've got plenty of plans. You're obviously very successful in the automation field, and that's going to be a big driver, isn't it, for UK manufacturing?
It is. I mean, the year started off okay. We're fortunate enough to have a good order book rolling into 2021. It's the start of the new year. We've already taken some orders, and there's lots of opportunity that we're close to closing. So I think it's going to be challenging. Maybe a little bit more challenging than last year, but still very optimistic. The sector does seem still very busy.